This has massive implication for the Spurs' future. A recent article suggests the Spurs are now a premier destination for free agents. And Spurs family, I tend to agree. We have already seen the breadcrumbs lying for what could be a very, very fruitful next few off seasons for the San Antonio Spurs. Now, I touched on this subject a little bit in a former video. If you have not caught that yet, go check it out. It came out a couple of days ago. And check out all of our amazing content that we have been giving you this off season. We are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. And yes, we are trying to hit that before the season begins. And you guys are a huge part of that. So please make sure you subscribe, turn on those notifications, comment, and share, and talk to us. We want to hear from you. Ask us questions. Join in, because that is what's fun about all of this. Now, like I said, I talked about this a little bit before, but we have been touching on how the Spurs are evolving into a free agent destination. I know as a Spurs fan, that sounds crazy because it's been a long time since we've had that. I think the last time we had a real big name free agent is LaMarcus Aldridge. But however, this article talks to us about this team becoming a premier free agent destination, not only for the next year, but for several years in the future. And of course, that is all because of that man, Victor Wembanyama, and his potential. You see guys that want to come in and play for the Spurs, and it showed with a guy like Chris Paul. Now, Chris Paul is entering his 20th NBA season. He has nothing else to prove. He has nothing else that he needs to do for an NBA franchise except do what he has been doing for years and what he shows he likes to do, give back to the game. And that's exactly what he's doing by helping mentor the future face of the league, the future star of the NBA. Chris Paul took an $11 million contract on 1 year to come here. Now, granted, $11 million sounds like a lot of money, but when you look at how much point guards are getting paid in this NBA, a guy like Chris Paul, that is still a bargain. And you have to imagine that he is taking that bargain for a chance to play with Victor Wembanyama and the rest of these young guys. Imagine what he can do with these guys. We remember how he came into OKC and mentored that team. Came in and showed them how to play basketball, how to play winning basketball. And that has stuck with them all the way through this point to where they're one of the best teams in the West. Chris Paul can have that same impact, and we got him on a bargain. And Chris Paul has said it. I came here to play with Victor Wembanyama, and we also know he came to play for Gregg Popovich, somebody that is the greatest coach ever, right? Who wouldn't want to play for that? But we all know it's about helping groom and mold that star potential that is Wemby. And it wasn't just Chris Paul that decided to come, right? Harrison Barnes, yes, he got traded here. Yes, he got traded. However, he waived his no-trade clause to come and play for the Spurs. He had a decision. He could have said no. This is another guy that is a role player. This guy is a champion. This guy has championship pedigree. He does not need to go to just any team. However, he heard of an opportunity to go play with the Spurs, and you got to imagine it was because knowing playing next to Wemby, how much easier he is going to make the game for everybody else. And in a few videos ago, we talked about the way these guys fit. And we heard from Harrison Barnes actually about, getting the chance to play for the Spurs. He talked about this in his intro press conference. For the ability to be able to come to San Antonio, it was a pretty easy decision for me. And guys, you got to understand that Harrison Barnes actually has played for Gregg Popovich before. In the 2019 FIBA Cup, he played with him. So he knows what he's getting himself into. He knows that this is a team that is capable of winning, and he showed that because, again, if it's the Charlotte Hornets, I don't think he is allowing a trade to go through. I just really don't see that happening. So, yes, it's Victor, but it's also Gregg Popovich. And I think when you look at those two combinations right there, you have the best coach to ever coach in the NBA, and then you have the future star, the next one, that guy that's going to be on every single commercial, that guy's going to be on every single interview. Why not be a part of that ride and understand that a team with Wemby on it is going to be hard to beat? Look at how tough those guys competed. Yes, there was a lot of losses, but those guys competed. And Wemby was on limited minutes. He was not somebody that got as many minutes as you would think a superstar would get. But of course, Gregg Popovich knew exactly what he was doing. And this is going to take time. It is going to take time to work these guys in. So you look at a Harrison Barnes, you look at a Chris Paul, and you say, if these guys with all they've accomplished in the league already, with all they've accomplished in their careers, say, hey, we want to go to San Antonio, to me, that's a great sign, because you have not seen free agents want to do that. You have not seen guys being willing to make that change and go over to be with the Spurs. It's just not something you've seen. I mean, you've seen guys basically run away from the Spurs for years, and I honestly think those days are over, and a lot of that is because of Victor Wembanyama. Now, moving on to Chris Paul, because we were talking about him, so we have to talk about a little story that I felt was touching. You know I love the OGs in the game, and it's crazy. Dwayne Wade is just as much of an OG as Chris Paul, but Dwayne Wade made a post, and it looked just like this right here. This is the post right here from IG. Let's see if we can pull it up at full screen graphics so you could really see. Now, this says, one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game of basketball is entering his 20th season. What he continues to give to the next wave of hoopers is what I'm most impressed with. And this is a photo of Chris Paul alongside Zaire Wade, who is Dwayne Wade's son. And you can clearly see they are doing a workout together. You can clearly see that this is a legend of the game, taking the time to help out a young man that is trying to work on his game. We've all know Zaire's story. Zaire was on the Utah Jazz's G League team for a little bit and then just never was really able to make his way. However, you know he is loved and revered by this NBA community because he has been around since D. Wade was a kid. So you see a post like this, and it almost makes me think D. Wade wants to remind people, like, yes, we talk so much about LeBron James and his longevity, but then you look at a guy like Chris Paul, who is right there with him, 20 seasons. And to me, I just feel like this was something that was so important to highlight, because this picture alone, to me, is why he is with the Spurs. This is what he is here to do for the Spurs. He is here to be a guy that helps mentor the youth and lead the youth. We are going to talk about all season his ability to impact these guys. And it's not just Wemby, a Tre Jones, a Blake Wesley. There are guys out here that Chris Paul can mentor and help. Not to mention rookie Stephon Castle. Chris Paul is one of the best point guards to ever do it. And yes, we forget because he's become somewhat of a journeyman. He's kind of moved around a lot. But that is because he is also a valuable asset. And he is going to be a huge asset to the San Antonio Spurs. Because no, we're not asking him to score. No, we're not asking him to play lockdown defense like he's known to do. We are just asking him to be a leader and a veteran and show these young guys how to play winning basketball. Because we've seen great things from Keldon. We've seen great things from Dev. We've even seen flashes from Tre Jones. But one thing we haven't had on this roster is a winner. Somebody that knows how to win. And just like I said with Harrison Barnes with a championship pedigree, no, Chris Paul does not have a championship. But there's somebody that knows how to be successful in this NBA. Somebody that knows what it takes to be a winner in this NBA. It is 110% of Chris Paul. So I just had to take that time to show him that love, and because D. Wade did, right? And when you have a guy like D. Wade taking the time out of his day to show love, but to also, because I'm an NBA player, right? If I'm D. Wade, I'm an NBA player. My son's not just working out with anybody. My son's not just getting game from anybody, because he can get game from me. So the fact that he trusts Chris Paul to do that shows the type of leader we have in our hands with the Spurs. And to me, it's just all-encompassing reasons why we are so excited about this season. Because, again, we didn't see a lot of wins last season. We saw potential. We saw what could be. And now that you've added these veteran guys, and you will continue to add these veteran guys, because as we talked about at the start of this video, we're the hot spot. We're the place that all the free agents want to go. I promise you, this part just isn't speculation. This is a promise I am making you. The more Victor plays, every single game he plays, all those minutes he gets, the more guys are going to say, I want a part of that. And the difference that you see with Victor is you don't see that ego that a number one pick superstar handed the world that you see a lot. Like, it was hard to play with Kobe sometimes. It was hard to play with LeBron James. It was hard to play with Michael Jordan. I don't think you see that with Victor. When you talk to this guy, when you're around him, when you spend time with him, he just has a different type of demeanor. And to me, that is going to help him so much, because we've seen so many of these stars, even Giannis, just guys just don't really want to play with them, have a hard time falling in line with them. But to me, Victor is such a unique type player that I think anybody can thrive with him, and these guys that we have added will thrive with him. And I cannot wait to see the future and the way that we bring guys in and the way that we use these draft picks and the way that we use some of these assets like a Keldon Johnson to continue to get better and build around Victor. Spurs family, I am Bryan Colbert Jr. This is Spurs Digest. Remember to subscribe and stick with us. We are not far from the season at all, and I promise you, as the season gets closer, the content is only going to get better. I'm talking pregame shows, postgame shows, lives, duets with other members of Spurs Digest. We're going to be doing all of those things, and we want to hear from you, Spurs family. So make sure you leave those comments. Ask us questions. I will field those questions on my videos. I will make sure I make a whole segment just to talk to Spurs fans. So make sure y'all comment. Make sure y'all talk to us and let us know how y'all are feeling, Spurs family. Until next time, I'm Bryan Colbert Jr. This is Spurs Digest. I'm out.